Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes, excellent, wonderful. Coming through, lovely. I was doing a whole Christmas bit, but you know what? Doesn't matter. It's the Fated Rivals Clash. It's the 2v2. It's our lovely, wonderful Saturday, and we're glad that you're joining us. My name is Relic, and alongside me, I've got the Jingle Bell Rock Solid himself, Hunted, and my little drummer boy, Jar of Jam. Let's start with Hunted, shall we? Because Hunted, of course, you were on the 1v1 broadcast. This is really the first time that we're seeing proper competitive esports level of Sideswipe. How was it? What was the vibe?
I mean, at least from being in the booth, we had a blast. Audible and I just enjoying the game for what it is. And I mean, if you haven't played this game yet, by the way, if you're coming in, you know us from Rocket League, and you haven't actually tried Sideswipe yet, you need to get on it. Seriously, it is an awesome game. I don't know about the players. I have a feeling that some of them were sweating it out because it's intense, man. It gets real fast, and it's awesome to watch.
It's literally on your phone right here. Look, I've got my lovely like titanium white Octane in the store right now.
It's in the store right now, yeah.
Pick up your coins, free like rocket pass as well. It's wonderful. And Jar of Jam, lovely to be on a broadcast with you again, my friend. Firstly, how are you doing? Secondly, Sideswipe, what are your feelings on the game? Because both of us, we've been playing it in single player. I know we've been trying to grind up through the ranks. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? It's lovely.
No, I'm happy to be here, Relic. And first of all, it also has been a real long while. I'm happy to be here with Rival. Happy to be here with you and Hunted. And I'm feeling like this is going to be a one crazy day. And Sideswipe itself, my goodness, this is the game that I want to play now. Rocket League itself has sort of stepped out to the side. Sideswipe is just perfectly bite-sized. Perfectly skill, like level-wise, is exactly what I need. I'm not that great at it just yet, and definitely my jaw is going to be dropping a lot today watching these players play, but I know exactly that everyone's going to enjoy the action today. If the Thursday's broadcast on the 1v1s is anything to go by, that was wow.
Oh, it was wonderful. Of course, won by Amir. We had 3 A's in a row with the top 3. And let's actually look at the prize pool then, shall we? Because talking of jaw dropping, again, this is a reminder, one of the first Sideswipe tournaments out there. And basically what we're doing is we're running it as a week-by-week sort of system. And so we've got a number of weeks where up for grabs. In the 1v1, you got $1,000. In the 2v2, you got $3,500 total prize pool up for grabs. So that's already money down on the table. Then come February 24th for the 1v1 system and February 26th for the 2v2 system, we're going to have even more money on the line in an invitational event. $5,000 for the 1v1s, $13,500 for the 2v2. That's a lot, I think, for a game which kind of came out of nowhere. I know, Hunted, you were calling it Pocket League. It's one of these things that we'd be thinking, what if, right? And now it's here, and there is some serious backing going into it thanks to Psyonix.
Yeah, it's not what if anymore. You know, it is like you said, it is here. And I mean, I know you boys are primarily, focused on EU Rocket League in general, but I mean, this is just for NA that we're talking about. Those prize pools are one of 4 regions of Sideswipe just monetarily being supported by Psyonix, So there's a whole lot of action that's going on. It's really awesome. Can we give a huge shout out to everybody at Rival, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Getting this on. I mean, we have the other regions, and they're doing everything they can to, get that content out there. But nobody like Rival putting on these broadcasts like these boys are. So, a huge shout out to them, and I'm super glad to be here and be part of it all. Certainly.
We're coming to you first, that's for sure. And first, today in particular, fighting for $1,500. You might have noticed, by the way, just over there, we've got our first confirmation of who we're going to be taking a look at in terms of overall teams. So it's going to be QC versus APHELION Esports. Now, I don't know whether you guys have got the particular teams up, but QC is a team of note, let's say, because, hey, guess what? You know that Amir guy that I talked about? The guy who won the 1v1 on Thursday? Yeah, he's in it. Not with his preferred teammate. Razox is going to be his teammate today. But we also have then APHELION Esports, which is going to be, I believe, Fisky25 and Lex. Yeah. So, Amir, Jam, I know you've been taking a look at the VOD. Hunted, I know you've obviously commentated on him. Let's start with you, Hunted. Tell me a bit about this player. What does he bring to the table? Yeah,
I'm wondering if real quick, I hate to interrupt you here. I'm hoping that our production team didn't just curse Amir's team, because they're not through yet. And from what I can see on on Smash, they're actually losing in their series right now.
Oh, really?
goodness.
Oh, no.
So,
No.
I don't know if they've cursed Amir's team, but actually it'll be funny if they do go through. It'll be actually a rematch. Alex is on APHELION Esports, so it'll be Amir and Alex in a 2v2 matchup. So that would be fun to watch. I would certainly be interested in that. But yeah, just from the 1v1 broadcast on Thursday. I mean, just the fact that these players are at the level. I mean, they've been grinding. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Amir's been streaming 10 hours a day since the games came out. So, like, it's no wonder he's this good already. But I mean, it reminds me a lot. It's so much different than watching Rocket League, right? Rocket League really feels like a sports game. This almost, and we were talking about it, backstage, guys. It almost feels like a fighting game with a ball instead of punching each other. I don't know, it's really fun. It's a lot of fun to watch.
And Jam, let's pick up on that point, shall we? Because it definitely feels like in Rocket League, you got a load of different styles of play, but I think generally we look at the pace of the game, we look at the speed of the game when it comes to Rocket League Championship Series, and that can make or break teams. Doesn't matter whether you're going demo style, whether you're going passing play style, you got to do it at a certain pace, otherwise you're going to struggle. Here, it feels a lot, I don't want to say slower, because certainly the pace that some of the 1v1 games were going, I couldn't keep up with it half the time. But I think it is fair to say that positioning, knowing when to get your flip resets, when to utilize your flip resets, positioning of the car, that's almost elevated in importance here.
I think we're going to be going through a lot of these little technical differences between Rocket League and Rocket League Sideswipe, and we're going to need some actual examples on the screen for that. But yeah, the difference is that indeed it's like a fighting game. There's a lot of small, very precise movements. Everything is basically happening on the same screen as every single time you're either with the ball or you're seeing your opponent with the ball, and you're seeing the whole field at the same time. Nobody's going to go miss. Nobody's going to miss something due to them being not in a ball cam or being in a ball cam and not seeing the rest of the field. It's all there, so it's all about the precision of your inputs, the way you're utilizing a variety of skills. For example, the flip reset is already a boon in Rocket League, but here in Sideswipe, it's even crazier. You can get flip resets so often, and they're so important into keeping you in the pace of the game, into giving you more opportunities. You're going to see these players just flip all over the screen, and it's going to be a blast. So really keep an eye out. And I wish we could play it in at half the speed or 0.75%. That's how I've been watching the VOD just to catch some of the moments as the players were pulling off their tricks in the ONE'S tournament on Thursday rather. It's going to be wild. So cannot wait.
I'm not unashamed, I don't think, to say that my first ever flip reset was in Rocket League Sideswipe. I'm not ashamed to say it, because I think it's one of these games where, I mean, a lot of content creators, a lot of us casters as well, Hunted, we were saying that it almost gives you that joy of going back to the early days of Rocket League. SARP for us guys who played it back in the day, like, it's a brand new experience. But even still, the fact that we've got the likes of Amir and Alex, we certainly hope that, for their sakes, they have a chance at a rematch at some point during this tournament. But the fact that they have already gotten so good at the game in such a short amount of time, and we know where Rocket League Championship Series was 5 years ago, sky's the limit for these guys, unless you count the top of the box, which is still a thing in Rocket League.
No, I definitely agree with you, and it's funny because I remember the day the game dropped, right, and there was the frenzy, or in North America anyway. I mean, it was out in OC and what have you, and elsewhere. But when it came to the world, the global stage, I just remember, Vodable was one of the guys that we ended up getting a group of 4 together just to play. We were just playing private matches pretty much, and I remember that feeling of just some of the crazy. None of us knew how to play the game. It was just, you were throwing yourself at the ball. Everybody's laughing, having a good time. And it literally brought me back. I'm just remembering moments from, Rocket League beta. And just, nobody knew how to play. You could barely get your car off the ground. But you were having so much fun doing it. And I can't believe Psyonix has captured that feeling again in a different game. It's so bizarre. I mean, I don't know. If for a mobile game, the game's so polished, it's so well done, I don't know. I think Psyonix really hit the nail on the head with this one. Not that they haven't with Rocket League, trust me, but it's just, I don't know. This game could have been so much worse than it is, and I can't believe that we're here. Seriously, we're getting ready to cast the first ever North America 2v2 tournament, and I'm legitimately excited to see some stuff I've never seen before.
Goodness, yeah, so much enjoyment, so much happiness, and then you hit platinum, of course, and it's all downhill. Jam, let's talk about the cars in particular, shall we? Because in Rocket League, we know that we have a certain amount of hitboxes. There's a load of different cars. I think there's over 100 cars in Rocket League right now. They all conform to, what's it, 1 of 4 or 5 hitboxes. Here, we know that every car is basically the same. There is no variation between all of them. It's just get in your favorite looking vehicle and have a go. Do you think that limits or opens up the possibilities for everyone here?
Right now, I see a lot of players coming in from Rocket League straight up into Sideswipe, and maybe they're already used to some of the playstyles that they can do with the ball, with the car. In that sense, they might be a little bit thrown off, but other than that, I think it's going to be working out pretty well for everyone. That it's currently slightly even. Even then, I remember on Thursday, Hunted and Vaudeville were talking about there is something about just having that merc. Just there's a placebo effect of the merc being able just to push the ball through, even though technically that's not the case. It's not going to push it any better than the Dominus stuff that I've been remaining myself in the game. So it's going to be there's so much more to do in this game besides just how your car works and how you control it, or whether you can pull off the 50s or challenges more easily or not. The skill ceiling, it's going to break the top of the stadium and go way high. I cannot wait till we're maybe a year into the whole Sideswipe thing, because players are going to come up with something absolutely wild. They have been coming up for Rocket League stuff with straight up 5-6 years, and Sideswipe is only starting.
I'm also wondering whether we're going to see any Rocket Lab stuff. Like, how crazy can we get, like, the maps going, like, up and horizontally? Let's talk about our first matchup, finally, because we talked about Amir, we talked about Alex. Turns out we're going to see neither of them in this first matchup, but we are going to see the other of the top 3 in the 1v1 tournament, and Noah, who is teaming up with Lobo on the Binky Boys, and they're going to be facing iSkittles and Vibe Check under the absolutely brilliant team name of iSkittles / Vibe Check. Apart from the creative naming, Hunted, what are they going up against here with a Noah? We know that he is a force to be reckoned with.
Yes. Well, at least in the 1v1, and he was one of those players that had pulled out the merc the entire time. So, again, maybe that placebo effect. But Noah, to me, was much more of a defensive player in those 1v1 games, like to try to slow the pace of the play down and just transition his way to victory. He kind of ran into the wall of Amir. Alex really played him super well, but I think that he's very mechanically sound. He put, at least in the 1v1s, which is something that translates pretty well into 2s, I've noticed, is the shot placement is super important when you have two players that you're trying to squeeze the ball through. And I think Noah might have been the best one that we watched all night, just in the placement of his shots, where he was putting the ball. So that's something you have to take into consideration. But across the way with Skittles and Vibe Check, I don't know much about Vibe Check, but I have watched a little bit of Skittles here and there when I've been able to catch the streams, and I honestly could not guess who's going to win this game. It should be a very high level and very fun.
It's the beauty of a blossoming esport, isn't it? We don't really know what the pecking order is right now, but what we do know, Jam, is that kickoffs are a huge part of 2v2s. We know that with 1v1, sometimes it can go one way, sometimes it can go the other, sometimes it's runaway, sometimes it's 50-50. With 2v2s, it's very much all about not just how the two going for the ball matchup, but also what your second player is doing. Do you take to the backboard? Do you try and follow it up? When do you push forward? Because goodness knows, if you overcommit in this game, as Hunters has already talked about, when you get those guys who are so good with their shot placements, who can get the power behind it, straight on target, it's going straight into the net. You don't have a full court like in Rocket League to deal with in this situation.
Yeah, that precision is going to work wonders, but also I think with Sideswipe, we're not only not getting that little bit of a going back in times with your first experience of Rocket League. We're also going to the first competitive season of Rocket League where there were goalies. Folks were actually 3 teams were using the goalies, and the 2s right now in Sideswipe are also utilizing goalies to their fullest extent. I actually wonder how the meta is going to go from there. But it's not only it's quite impossible to just beat one player and then be straight on target. There's always going to be somebody going for that counterattack. And once those counterattacks went incredibly deadly, as we were watching the Faded Clash on Thursday, and in 2s, you'll have to beat an extra person. And out of boost, when they're already reading your aerial, you're going to pull out some tricks. There's a lot of fakes, a lot of delayed flips that are going to be utilized to the fullest extent in Sideswipe. And as a matter of fact, in Sideswipe, your second jump after you jump the first time does not time out. In Rocket League, you have about 1.5 seconds before it disappears. Here, you have it for as long as possible. And so you basically can wait until tomorrow until you make that flip and then bam, pull it out on your opponent.
It's all a bit of a waiting game, isn't it? And I certainly know that another way that you can play the game is with a controller. This, of course, possibly the biggest controversy coming out of the Sideswipe scene early doors. Should gamepads be allowed? Well, here's the thing. You can't really stop them. So they're here to stay. I think it's fair to say that the most, like, in terms of like top level players that we've seen so far, they've gone the way of the controller. Look, I'm a touchscreen purist myself, Hunted, but we also want this esport to get as good as possible, as quickly as possible. It needs to be engaging for fans. And if people feel more comfortable and feel they can do more on gamepad, then let them fight.
Yeah. So it's funny because I don't think we would have like the top echelon of players would look way different if emulators didn't exist.
Very
or
much
like
so,
if they could only use touch controls. And I mean, let's be realistic. Whether you are the type of person that says it's a mobile game, should be touch control only, Psyonix made the decision to support controllers.
Yes.
So like you're kind of already losing the argument because Psyonix said, yes, we want you to play with a controller. Like I don't know. It is an argument that does kind of continue to rage on. And if you're ever feeling bad about yourself or you're feeling a bit down on the day, just go to the Sideswipe subreddit and watch these people argue about it for hours and hours. It's hilarious. I've read a couple of the threads, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't care what you use as long as you're leaving it all on the field and you're showing me some stuff that I can't do personally with or without a controller. So I'm ready for it.
We have Rule 1 in Rocket League. I think Rule 1 in Sideswipe is only the real Gs use a touchscreen, right? Jaro Jam, let's focus in then on our format for today, of course. We've seen best of threes earlier in the tournament. That's all off screen. Basically, everything that we see from here on out is a best of 5 scenario with the exception of the grand final, which is going to be best of 7, with a game advantage going to the person, or to the team, I should say, in this situation, who make it through the top side of the bracket. So it's a very familiar setting to what we see in Rocket League, of course, but the big difference here is that it's only 2 minutes per game. Do you think that's going to be playing much on the minds? Because yes, we've seen a lot of defensive plays in 1v1s. I imagine we will see a lot of defensive plays here in 2v2, but with less time to work with, surely the panic is going to be setting in earlier. If we're not scoring now, we're not going to be scoring later.
I actually think it's the opposite. The fact is, with the way that the tides of the game can quickly change in Sideswipe, rather, it's more possible for you to create something. There is a possibility, unlike in Rocket League, although in Rocket League is also the fast kickoffs and fast kickoff goals are a possibility. In Sideswipe, you can basically score in about 1 second. Yeah. Timer basically does not move, and you can still score. Not on this level, though, but still, even with 2 minutes, 2 minutes is plenty of time, or 1 minute, whatever time you have remaining. Just take it as a normal game of Rocket League, just condense it just a little bit. The action is as fast-paced as it could be. I think there's still a possibility. I know some folks are still giving up from quite early. I'm not one of these people. I'm playing until the very end. I'm pushing until that very last goal, and I'm definitely going to be squeezing every last second of every one out of my matches, and I hope the teams on the field are going to be doing that as well.
Hey, folks. We're going to debate you for the second time in a row. I'm sorry. The decision has been made. We're no longer seeing QC. We're no longer seeing Inoa. Actually, all those things that we were saying about Alex, guess what? They're going to be relevant again because we're going to the top sides of the upper bracket. We're going to be seeing APHELION Esports. So again, a reminder, Fisky and Alex. But yes, the surprise, the upset has already occurred. Amir is dropping to the lower bracket, and in his place comes ELMO'S World. It's Wallaby Gangster and Aslan Bang. Great names, by the way, it must be said. But the question is it going to be all the way to Sesame Street for them?
That is certainly the question. We'll have to see. We'll have to see as we start our next matchup. I'm looking at the roster. I don't know how much of an upset. Like, I'm not surprised at all that series QC and ELMO'S World went to 5 games. Like, at all. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I would have expected between those two teams. I'm more interested in seeing how ELMO'S World deals with APHELION. I think APHELION, in my opinion, probably win this series. But who knows anymore? I mean, I don't know why I'm pigeonholing myself into giving myself big predictions, but I don't know. I don't think seeing Amir go down to the lower bracket in 2v2s is necessarily a surprise, but don't count him out yet. I do think we might see him on stream later.
And don't worry, that pigeonhole will be coming once we get the go-ahead to say, hey, listen, we're going to get this series going. But it is true to a certain extent because, Jam, we look at Rocket League, and I think there is a lot of players that you would look at who are great 1v1 players, don't get me wrong. Could be great 2v2 players as well. But that transition into 3v3 has been more difficult for some than others, and some just purely like to stick to freestyling, purely like to stick to 1v1s just because that's kind of their area. Is it kind of similar here going from 1v1 to 2v2?
Definitely, you're gonna need your teammate. It's different with many ways with Sideswipe, since there is no connection between the players, so you can just drive straight through your teammate, straight to your opponent, and so the positioning is still important, but at the same time, there could be a bit of a different approach to it. Teamwork still is the king. You don't want your teammates to overcommit, to double commit. You want to know that he is safe there, even if you miss on a kickoff, or just make it so that it goes in the opposition side. So knowing how technical this some of the players have already gotten, we've talked about Amir and the stuff that he has been pulling out, both on stream and in the tournament, has been tremendous. All of that is still going to be very important when it comes to finding that mistake on the opponent's side and making sure you put that shot on target. You get that recovery and absolutely bamboozle your opponent, or just play those mind games. When you're a 1v1, you're in the air, the ball is yours, the flip reset is yours, and you're going to go for it. In that case, the 1v1 skill set gets brought up to the surface one more time, and those players are going to be using that to the fullest of extent. And knowing just how small the field is, it is still, in many ways, a once game, just with a little bit more obstacles, I feel like.
Yeah, and actually, it's a really good point you bring up. We'll switch over to Hunted here because, one of the biggest, I guess, factors in modern-day Rocket League is the whole bump and demo game.
Yeah.
That is completely absent here. There is no... We talk about the 400 IQ plays, right? There is no room for bumping and demoing here. It's been completely removed. So it is literally all down to that positioning and timing when you're looking to form an attack.
Well, it's funny because I was actually going to bring that up about the fact that you can kind of drive through your opponents and your teammates for that matter in this game.
But not the ball.
Not the ball. Thank God. This game would be much, much worse if you could drive through that. So it's interesting because we've gotten so used to that play style from Rocket League that I found myself, like, in the first couple days playing this game, I found myself instinctively, like, you miss the ball or you make your touch and then you go and you look for the demo on the guy. And then you're like, oh, yeah, wait, I put myself out of position. I can't actually touch this guy. And it is different. I wonder how the game would be if you could. I think I think the fields are too small for that. Personally, I don't know. I guess I'd try it, but with the way that it works currently in its current state, it's more about positioning yourself and being smart off the ball. Making sure it's almost like pool. This is going to be a really weird reference, but if you're good at pool,
go for it.
You know how when you take a pool shot, right? Where the cue ball ends up is more important than what happens to the ball you're aiming at, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's almost what it feels like to me. You go up, you're trying to put the shot on net and score, but where you end up is more important because they can transition real quick. If it goes in, great, it doesn't matter, but you still have to kind of like keep your positioning in the front of your own mind and not, throw yourself away and let the other team score.
Yes, the fated rivals clash, bringing you failed Christmas intros and also pool references. Honestly, you get everything here. And Jam, let's talk about defense, shall we? Because, of course, when it comes to actually scoring goals, actually trying to defend goals, it is kind of similar to Rocket League in that you got like a little lip and then you got like this divot in your wall. And I know that some people like to set up shop there in 2v2s. They like to use that as a starting position. Basically, if the ball is coming up to you, because of course the goal itself is not flush on the ground. You have to at least go upwards to get yourself on the score sheet. Some like to stick there. Some like to use it as a starting point. It means that they can go down, up. They'll have their boost, of course, because the way that boost is gained in this game is not through pads or anything, of course. It's just by value of having your wheels on ground of some sort. And that includes the ball, it should be mentioned, which is a very important strategical aspect to, I imagine, what we'll be seeing later today. But how do you think defending is going to evolve over the course of today, Jam? Because, of course, we do have that strategy. Some like to keep it a little bit more fluid. What's worked personally for you? What do you see working in general?
Now, guess who's doing the failed Christmas intro? That wasn't a failed Christmas intro, though. Answering your question, Relic, I think that, again, the defender in the net in twos, especially knowing that it's you have that net pretty high up, it's quite needed there. But that player also has the capability of scouting out whatever the opponent's team is doing and just go for the ball at the opportune moment. Thankfully, you don't have to think in 3D. You only need to think in 2 dimensions. And as such, the angle from which you're approaching, rather like the side partly, you only need to cover the net with the width of your car, with the length of your car, whatever side you want to take as a result of that. As for evolution, I feel like from defensive standpoint, I feel like the game was slowly going to translate into more offensive, perhaps counter-attacking. The last player, the second, will be coming in for the attacks much more often, but it's a risk-reward kind of situation. Only the best of the teams and players will be able to pull that off without falling behind to teams that are just going to, okay, well, you're just committed 2 players. We're going to score back on you. So aggressive player, right now I think defense is going to be king, at least for a little while, for the first season of Sideswipe. And then we're going to see, like, the Masters are being minted right now. I also like the fact that we have a lot of pros and ex-pros coming in as well.
Yes,
we almost had a chance to see Lethemir.
We were so close.
You know him as
and Tikarel, of course.
And Tikarel, of course, yes. The tubers were that team. Tikarel of Susquehanna Sonics, and Lethemir, of course, the content creator for Space Station Gaming right now. I'm pretty sure majority of folks right now know him as the YouTuber, more so than the ex-pro. Unfortunately, Lethemir's internet, or rather, not even the internet, the power got cut out. I think the weather is really bad where he is right now, so we didn't see him. Also, we didn't see Lemon Puppy. He's the OG of North American Rocket League. Magic Bear from Torrent. The pros from Rocket League are coming into Sideswipe, and I cannot wait to see what they can do.
Well, the word has been given in my ear, my friends. It is time for our first Fated Rivals 2v2 match here of the evening. It's a best of 5. It's an upper semi-final. It's ELMO'S World versus APHELION Esports, and I'm going to pass it over to Hunted and Jam. Take it away, folks.
Thanks. I very much appreciate it. We'll make sure his microphone is working for the New Year's Day intro that he decides to bring us upcoming here, Jam. But we appreciate you folks being patient in the chat. So, everything kind of behind the scenes. One thing to mention, Jam, that is kind of important to the esports life of the game, there's no spectator feature in the game right now. So we are kind of winging the whole operation right now. So again, big shout out to everybody on the back end getting everything set up for us, and also the players for kind of going out of their way to helping us and streaming their POVs to us. So wouldn't be possible without them. But again, thanks to everybody watching for being patient. We're about to get into the game though, and I'm so excited to finally kick this off.
Yes, it has been. We're having it here for a while, but we want to see some gameplay. I'm pretty sure Twitch chat is just caster start game. Caster start game. we need like a fake button, big red button that we can just demonstratively press on the stream, and then maybe the magic is going to happen. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to press it again.
Press it.
Damn it, the game still is not starting. That is quite a disappointment. But yes, folks, Sideswipe, free to play, 1v1s, 2v2s, and also hoops. I wonder if the hoops are finally going to pick up as the esports scene, because it is woefully underrepresented and undervalued in Rocket League.
I mean, not to like go way back, but I actually started casting in Rocket League with hoops, the ranked hoops community. So hoops is kind of near and dear to my heart. So, you know, I'd love to see Psyonix sponsor some kind of hoops content in either game or both. Why not both? Just you know, really go forward with it. But yeah, so like you said, the game's free to play, pretty awesome. You can get an iOS, Android right now. And the crazy thing is too, Jam, there's no microtransactions at this point. I don't know if they'll add them eventually, but I was going into the game thinking there'd be like a Rocket Pass or something, or I mean, there is a Rocket Pass, but you don't have to pay for it. It's crazy.
Yeah, everyone can get all of these wonderful cosmetics, and Rocket League just does not fit itself to be in any way, shape, or form like a pay-to-win game as well. So well, even if there's going to be some beautiful things coming in later with Rocket Passes, with bundles, I'm pretty sure whoever wants to get that, they'll have that opportunity. Everyone else is going to be working with whatever they have. Also, folks, if you're watching us from place other than North America, don't worry. There's also tournaments happening in your regions as well. Sideswipe is all over the planet right now, while Rival Esports is responsible for North America. Rocket Baguette is going to be making the European tournaments run. Rocket Street is responsible for South America. APL Esports once again takes the helm for Asia Pacific and Middle East and North Africa, and of course RL Oceania is doing the RL Oceania. Hunted.
Yes.
This is happening. This is going on. ELMO'S Word and APHELION Esports. Who's going to score the first goal?
And it looks like we're going to have a pretty fast start. 30 seconds in. Nobody on the board yet. As you said, APHELION Esports, they're going to be in the yellow. It's Alex, and we're watching the stream from his teammate here. So it's unfortunate we don't get the nameplate for the player who's actually streaming. But it is nice to be able to finally be into the game here, and that is Fisky for anybody wondering who doesn't have the nameplate. Alex and Fisky of APHELION Esports right now.
Fisky 25. And there has been a ton of goals in one's games, sometimes even straight off the kickoff, but both of these rosters are currently doing a great job. I'm just making sure the defense is solid. I cursed them well. I think it's now a classic for Sideswipe tournaments so far. Fisky gets his first one. Great push. And all that defensive prowess of ELMO'S World goes for nothing right here off the kickoff.
Wow.
2 for him for a price of 1. That's going to be 2-0 for APHELION.
Yeah, I mean, 2 back-to-back and pretty much identical goals, although the second one coming right off the kickoff. It's going to get a third. He has the opportunity, just not the boost. Just couldn't quite get back down to it. But APHELION doing what I thought they'd do, coming out very aggressive in this game, really taking it to their opponents right now. And again, this best of 5, it's the first best of 5 these teams are going to be playing all day so far, Jam. So a little bit of, or I guess technically they played best of 5 in the last series, so I guess they are a little bit used to it. But still, a bit more time to kind of grow into your opponents, right?
Yeah, and right now with time ticking down, they need a goal immediately. ELMO'S World cannot get one straight off that attack. And just with the 2 goals that we've seen in such quick fashion, we basically had, 3 seconds for goals, and then immediately, and then just good defensive action all around, which we tried to utilize the ceiling for flip resets. We saw how defenders were working. We also saw that lip at the bottom of the stadium as well being, camped, I suppose, could be used as a word, by the defenders, just making sure that they are that great wall that nothing's going to pass through.
Right.
Interesting to see what the adjustment is going to be for ELMO'S World. They've played solidly. They got their chances in the attack, but this quick 1-2 just wrote their destiny for this one.
And again, it kind of goes back to what we saw that 1v1 tournament. Alex is a very aggressive player, and it translates into the speed and the pace of play for his team here in the second, or in the 2v2, I should say. Though I don't think game one's necessarily going to tell the tale of the series. We, like you said, we saw pretty much just all defense and a lucky. In my opinion, it was kind of a lucky bounce out of the corner that led to that first goal that kind of sealed the rest of the game there. So we'll see. Can ELMO'S World? I think they got to score the first goal 100% here, and then lock it down defensively. If they can do that, they can make this a series.
Yeah, folks, keep making notes. I'm definitely going to be making notes as well. Check out this gameplay. See what the kickoffs are looking like. We saw a lot of fakes in ones so far. This is, of course, the very first match on the broadcast. So we haven't seen that much, but I don't think the fakes are that important. And the twos, yep, both going in. Oh, I see Aslan immediately going for a high, and Alex just tries to push it in.
Yeah.
He tries to be the steam locomotive, but cannot get it through. And immediately defense is in place. Alex, there he is, just waiting patiently.
Oh, that's a huge win, though, for Wallaby. He's got to play this down to his teammate. Some good defense there from Fisky. Wisely opts to let Alex just play this one through. And again, it's about positioning, wanting to make sure you're not going to get transitioned on. 30 seconds gone, still no goal. Aslan up towards the top. And I'm telling you, Jam, they have flipped the script here, but you've got to be careful. One commitment like that, too many, and it's in the back of your goal.
And Wallaby was doing a great job of just staying back. He knew that he does not need to be there, but the moment the challenge comes, the side of APHELION is just that much faster. Dangerous, but nobody can push it through. This time it's Aslan making that second player roll. A little bit dicey, a little bit dangerous. Nobody was gonna just give up the positioning. Wow, just aerial game and aerial play just about.
And that's the beauty of this game. The boost is so strong. You can literally just hover in the air off a full boost for, what feels like 20 to 30 seconds at times. As we've got to see, can Alex and company turn this around? We've got the ball in their possession. 40 seconds left. Alex around one. He's going to beat Wallaby. Try to stuff it through the bottom side there. Just a bit too strong on that Dominus. But now it's Fisky's turn, trying to cause some chaos down low. Will be turned away. And I love this. This is so good. Both teams playing so defensively. That was a bit of a mistake there from ELMO'S World, and it's going to get punished immediately.
Just look how quickly APHELION can jump on the smallest of openings. The moment ELMO'S World just has one weak spot, they jump on it so quickly. And of course, they're reaping the results, but so far we haven't seen them punished for that, but for the most part, APHELION was just getting a completely open look at the net with nobody from ELMO'S really being able to chase it. And they never sent two. Anyway, this would be on target. This will be. ELMO'S World with just 4 seconds get their first goal of the series.
There's a chance, Jam. Off the kickoff, they need to do something big here. That was a good fake. But now Alex has possession. He's going to leave it for Fisky. What a smart move. Oh, he missed it. No, Aslan missed it. He had a chance to go back up. But a whiff, and now a 2-game lead. And all of a sudden, this series could come crashing down for ELMO'S World.
My heart breaks for that. There could have been a great opportunity to keep it at 0 and go for at least one more attempt. I feel like they had the resources and everything. They were starting together with the defense from the defense, and they had to beat 2 players on the way there. But it was still a chance there. Well, it's getting better for ELMO'S World, Hunted. The fact is, they've scored a goal. They stood a chance, but just how quick is APHELION? Just how quickly they can turn a defense from seemingly nothing is happening. ELMO'S had the opportunity to make some shots into just APHELION rushing down the field because they see that there is a way that their opposition is not going to get to the ball. Aerial game on point, the speed of which they're moving. Like, you blink and you miss it. That's how APHELION is playing.
Well, that's what I said. You make one mistake if you're ELMO'S World, you got all that aggression, one mistake, and it's Alex or Fisky who's going to punish you every single time. Doesn't matter who's on the ball. But now we're going to start game number 3. A reverse sweep needed for the blue side. They're going to start down by 1. That was a wonderful 50 from Alex. Able to beat both players, and Fisky will finish it.
Hard push by ELMO'S World. You need somebody staying deep. Aslan Bank just tried to go for a challenge, and APHELION was keeping their defender still in the pocket, still back at home. Still did not work out. And here, Alex You know that Fisky, he's not going for it, but there's no double tap opportunity. And with that, ELMO'S will have to return. Not just return, they did not respect Alex coming at them at all.
I don't... Aslan had room to the bottom side. If he delays just a little bit longer, I think he beats that defender low and scores the tying goal. But he decided to go high, looking for some kind of rebound play, and it just doesn't work out. I mean, just APHELION Esports, their backwall defense, which is really weird to say in this game, has been so good, and Alex's 50's even better. Another one, and that's the 1v1 prowess of Alex right there coming to the forefront.
It's showing that in those situations, duels and another challenge one straight off the kickoff. And defender, I see that ELMO'S World are trying to play with, not with the defender going back. Right now, you're going to see, actually, you're not going to see that. I was going to point out that Fisky, but Fisky was just staying on the ground and watching what's going to happen. He's trying to play aggressive. Right now, it seems like APHELION is trying to push with two players. But here, ELMO'S World, what do they have? Just an attempt to push with one player. So far, it has not been bringing any dividends to them. Yeah,
they need 4 goals. And don't get me wrong, 4 goals in 45 seconds, certainly doable in this game, but they have to break the brick wall that has been APHELION Esports. Are they going to get another? No. Fisky couldn't finish it off. Oh, that was the transition they needed, but Wallaby couldn't make the touch.
Taxi.
Fisky rides the ball to victory.
Hey! If you want to get back to the defense, you can just take the ball. That works.
That's a nice little touch from Aslan. I love that he was just laying on it, just almost like a circus act. That was awesome.
I no longer have any choice in the matter. Or he did have a choice. Ooh, another attempt at a push, but look at that. It's just the wall. You can push the ball back, and you wouldn't want to push the ball back. And of course, there's a player from APHELION waiting. 5th one for the orange side. And GGs are being called pretty early. This is indeed an early bloodbath. And APHELION in 3. But there's no question, Hunted, they deserve that. With the way that they set up their defense, there was almost no way for ELMO'S World to sneak in the ball. You could always see that there was just, you had to, if the ball was stuck in the defense of APHELION, there was almost no way that you could push it through. If it somehow got into that trap, that's it. You're not getting anything. And a good pinch out of there could have just immediately spelled trouble, and in many cases it did.
Yeah, and I mean, I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with the result, because I did, for some reason, decide I was going to predict this matchup, and it does go to APHELION Esports, but I'm honestly really surprised at the, it just seemed like domination right there. They seemed in their comfort zone the whole game. And, hey, well-deserved winner's final appearance for them for sure.
Yeah, they are going to be moving on forward, and winners finals, what we're waiting. We're also going to immediately go into the semi-final, or at least with a little bit of interlude by our very good host, Relic. But Binky Boys and Ice Skittles and Vibe Check, one of these teams is going to be the opponents of APHELION, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be watching the next match with a lot of anticipation, trying to suss out what are the weak points of each one of these teams.
Well, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, we've got even more Sideswipe action. I don't know where we're going to be, but we'll be right here on your screen, so don't go anywhere.